I assume that we are all familiar with the fundamentals of the science of astrotheology. So I am going to get right into a basic overview of our subject. The details are in my books. Jesus Christ was a sun god that lived and died upon the astronomical cross of cosmic mythology. The facts are certain, and there's no doubt about it. The Bible is a book of cosmic mythology, and astrotheology is key to understanding the esoteric meaning of the Bible. I am now going to explain the esoteric symbolism of Jesus, the sun god, and his death upon the cosmic cross. The crucifix is the cross of the four cardinal points. The reason that the Bible writers wrote four versions of the life of Jesus is because the four cardinal points denote four different positions of the sun in its annual cycle. The book of Matthew indicates the winter solstice. The book of Mark indicates the vernal equinox. The book of Luke indicates the summer solstice, and the book of John indicates the autumnal equinox. The gospel describes the annual life cycle of the sun, and not of a historical person. Jesus was a mythological sun god, not an actual historical figure. The opening chapter of each gospel points to the cardinal point that signifies the position of the sun in its annual cycle through the zodiac. The Gnostic writers of the Bible put clues in the first chapter of each gospel that mark the position of the sun in its yearly cycle. The first chapter of Matthew points to the birth of a divine child that shall bring salvation to the world. This birth refers to Sol Invictus, the birth of the unconquered solar sun on December 25. This birth takes place 3 days after the winter solstice. The first chapter of Mark opens with the sun god Jesus being baptized as he crosses the Jordan River. The Jordan River refers to the celestial equator in the astrotheological symbolism. The sun crosses the celestial equator at the vernal equinox on March 21. The first chapter of Luke opens with the birth of John the Baptist, and not with the birth of Jesus, the sun god. The birth date of John the Baptist is recorded as June 21. June 21 is the point where the sun crosses the summer solstice. This makes it abundantly clear that Luke symbolizes the summer solstice in the astrotheological symbolism. The first chapter of John opens with creation. The sun god Jesus is linked with creation and is identified as the Word that was with God from the beginning of time. This is a very vivid link to the symbolism. The Jews celebrate the creation of the world at the holiday of Rosh Hashanah. They teach that Rosh Hashanah is the anniversary of creation. Rosh Hashanah is celebrated with the new moon proximate to the sun crossing the autumnal equinox of September 22. There can be no doubt that the book of John symbolizes the autumnal equinox. At this time, I want to explain the cosmic symbolism of the ordeal of Christ upon the cross. I repeat, this cross refers to the four cardinal points. The crucifixion of Christ upon the cross, his death, and his resurrection are actually symbolic of the annual cycle of the solar sun. It is important to remember that in deciphering cosmic symbolism, the focus is always on the numbers. The symbolism duplicates astronomy, and astronomy is, of course, a mathematical science. The objects that the numbers refer to may at times simply fill out the storyline, but the actual numbers are the essential keys to identifying the precise astronomical coordinates. The ancient astronomers used the language of cosmic mythology as a means of transferring astronomical knowledge from generation to generation in coded form. The numbers given for the ordeal of Christ from his trial before Pilate to his crucifixion to his burial and resurrection covers 12 cycles of time. In this phase of the symbolism, these cycles are interpreted as months, not as actual hours or days. You will note that I have each of the endpoints of the cross numbered. These are the cardinal points. Of course, the zodiac circle is actually divided into 12 sections, but I am only numbering the cardinal points in order to save space and clutter. The number 0 plus 12 is the vernal equinox. That is to say, the book of Mark. The cardinal point that controls the symbolism has two numbers because it is the start and ending of the solar cycle. The number 3 is the summer solstice. The number 6 is the autumnal equinox. The number 9 is the winter solstice. You will notice also that the lower hemisphere is shaded darker than the upper region. This is because the lower region represents darkness wherein the light of the sun is reduced, that is to say, the fall and winter season of the year. The Jewish day of 24 hours starts at 6 o'clock in the evening. They divide their day into two 12-hour divisions. They count nighttime as lasting from 6 in the evening to 6 in the morning. They count daytime as lasting from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. The capture and trial of Jesus before the Jewish authorities was done between 6 at night and 6 in the morning. This time frame alone lets us know that this story cannot be literally true. The Jews transferred Jesus to the custody of the Roman administrators for his final trial and sentencing after 6 in the morning. Jesus was transferred up to the hill of Golgotha and nailed to the cross at the 3rd hour, Jewish time. That equates to 9 o'clock in the morning, which indicates the summer solstice in this phase of the symbolism. The Bible states that 2 thieves were crucified with Jesus, one on the right and one on the left. This refers to the 2 equinoctial points. The equinoxes balance the measure of light our planet receives from the sun relative to the sun's nearness to either of these points. Therefore, they were referred to as thieves in the symbolism because of their counterbalancing effect on the light we receive daily and seasonally. The Bible further states that there was darkness between the 6th and the 9th hour. In other words, the sun was blacked out for 3 hours. But no history nowhere has any record of such a miracle. Evidently, only the people on Mount Golgotha saw this happen. The truth is that this refers to the sun falling below the autumnal equinox in the 6th month into the underworld of darkness, and in the 9th month, at the winter solstice, this is where the sun died and was buried. It would be convenient to say at this point that the sun is resurrected after 3 days in the grave of the winter solstice. But that would not be in accord with the symbolism of the book of Mark, which shows the vernal equinox as the starting point for this particular solar cycle. The cycle is completed when the sun returns to its starting point. So the sun must lay in its underworld grave for 3 months, from the 9th to the 12th month, after which time, at the dawn of spring, the sun breaks through the equinox into the upper world, heralding the resurrection of the sun god under the holiday that we now call Easter. The resurrection of the sun god now coincides, more or less, with the Jewish Passover. And these early Jewish Christians, who dominated the thought that produced the book of Mark, can now celebrate their risen Savior, Jesus Christ, in the same season as their former Passover celebration. The sun has now completed its cycle by returning to the point of its commencement at the vernal equinox, as so expressed in the book of Mark, and indeed has proven itself as the risen Savior that brings greater light and warmth to the world. So there you have it. The book of Mark was the first gospel written according to the biblical scholars, and served as a pattern for the Gospels of Matthew, Luke, and John. But regardless, the overriding truth is that all of the Gospels are mythological renditions reflective of astronomical charting. This astrological system did not start with Christianity, but rather this system of anthropomorphic star lore goes back more thousands of years than we can count into prehistory. Greetings. My name is Malik Jabbar, author of the Astrological Foundation of the Christ Myth in 4 volumes, and other books on the subject of astrotheology. I trust that you have found this presentation on biblical esotericism informative. Astrotheology is a very ancient system. The science of astrotheology brings rationality and unparalleled insight into the cultural and religious myths of our ancestors. Thus far, I have written 7 books on the subject of astrotheology. You can read excerpts at my site, thechristmyth.com. A link is below in the description. You can also purchase books through my site at a very substantial discount. We ship internationally as well as within the USA. Your feedback is appreciated, whether through the comments section or tapping on that like button. I post videos as often as I can, so if you like, subscribe to my channel so that you can be kept up to date on my postings. So I thank you, and I sincerely appreciate your time.